Now ask that question.
So how do we avoid the mental tax of...
It's just going to have to be background noise.
All right.
And as it sees, it's background noise.
Yes.
So, all right.
So avoid the mental tax.
Avoid the mental tax.
Got it. So actually, really, if you look, you turn the microphone gain down because I'm talking a fairly normal voice, and we are.
You told me to turn it all the way
well, because when it was in the middle of all of us, then yes, okay. That's too far down. Killing me, kid. Well, look at the sound levels. Look at the sound levels. So if I talk in a fairly loud volume right there, that's about right. Okay, so then when I'm talking normal volume, we're at the top of the green. That's just right. Okay, good.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Okay, so here's what I need you to do.
Yep, great.
Hold it to the speaker. Welcome to a bootleg episode of Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of LeChamp or Lucky Track Dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. Why, we even think you drift hella flush, guys, aight? Long as y'all drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week or on the weekends for tech discussions, tips, tricks, news and notes, as well as news and notes from the world of low-dollar racing. I've already screwed this up. Yep. And whether it's on the spot, we judge hella sweet but terrible. We're sitting around drinking in the back of my RV, and if you're really lucky, Chrissy's going to give you just the tip.
Not tonight.
But we're sure you're going to giggle a little and learn a lot. Everybody report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Mental, and over there is...
Hamsa.
And we are Everyone Racers. Hey, thanks for joining us for a random bullshit episode from the back of Mental's RV. Right. No problem. Right.
No, we're not even doing the sponsors. Screw it.
Nope. And we already lost Mental's dad, so we're done. Thank you for joining us. We're here at Road Atlanta for the Lemons season finale. This is the Yokohama 500. No, 300. No, 100. No. Nice try. That's why we're here. Yeah, even Yokohama has actually left now. Yep, they're gone. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they left.
No, they didn't. They didn't leave.
No, they left. They're gone.
Why?
Because it's cold and raining.
Yeah. Mental talking to the mic.
They left because it's cold and raining, and they don't want their tires associated with all the crashes.
Actually, so much water and oil is on the track, there has been zero tire wear. And even the four offs are just greased into the infield. They changed 4 tires in an entire day of racing. They mounted and balanced 4 tires for free. There are 4 Yokohama employees and an entire one of 5 18-wheelers, 53-foot Yokohama sponsorship trailers here to change 4 tires. So even they packed it in on day 1.
So I thought that. Oh, okay. I should tell everybody. Yeah, this is actually a lot of voice for me. Actually, I guess for the last 2 days I've not had any voice. I did see somebody welding in the trailer today, so I don't know. They were doing something else. Also, people went to go get their tires from Tire Rack and then got them mounted and balanced here. So people, maybe there was those 4 guys. Yes, so somebody was getting them. They were getting them from somewhere else, not from here.
So the important thing is Yokohama, we love you. Thank you for coming out here. We're sorry that it's so slippery that you're not getting a lot of business, but please continue to stick with lemons. Not that anyone's listening.
And absolutely. Well, actually, our co-teammates, Greg and Bruce, they were here super early. They had some rain tires that they had bought but not yet mounted, so they just walked over to the Yokohama trailer with some drinks and some tires and wheels. And they walked away with some mounted tires and some...
Greg and Bruce. Because Greg and Bruce.
Absolutely. And it worked out great. And those RE71s, which are usually wear very quickly, especially in a narrow one that they had for their car, have 0 wear, actually, today. 0 wear at all. I think the nubs are still in the tires on Hamsa's car.
6 hours on track.
Sorry, 6 hours later, there's still nubs. Close enough.
So Yokohama is clearly the tire of choice for Endurance Racing Series.
Except that none of us are actually running Yokohama tires. But yes, they are. Thank you, Yokohama, for being here.
# they should sponsor us.
Get your bingo cards out, everyone. So we're just gonna throw some of those things out right now. NSX, Wartburger Aaron, hi Chrissy's mom.
I might have been drinking.
Mental is drunk. Mental, tell a story. Doesn't go anywhere.
We had terrible computer issues earlier.
We did. The The weather sucks.
But hey, so let's go ahead and cut to the easy stuff, and we'll start, folks. And you already know this if you're a regular listener. Jeff can't make it with us tonight. We did actually have to FaceTime with him to resolve these computer issues. And if you're listening to this episode, it's because of Jeff. If you're not listening to this episode, it's because we deleted it, and it sounds horrible, and it's because of Jeff. So, but let's go around the horn, and we'll start with Hamsa, our Jeff intermediary. Hamsa, what you working on?
Right now I'm transferring video from earlier today after getting done with some repairs earlier for my boring but yet reliable BMW. It actually let us down. It actually let us down for a couple hours, so my boring and reliable BMW is now just a boring BMW. We had some intermittent power issues due to an actual failing connector on a power switch, and if you smash the dash appropriately, you could troubleshoot where the loose connector was, which was actually how we started diagnosing it. Was having me stick my head under the side and having Chris smash the dash until the dash glitched.
I think he smashed it first, and then you were like,
went,
oh!
Okay. Yes, actually, he smashed it in anger, in frustration, because we couldn't diagnose it, and the car did the thing that we were waiting for it to do to diagnose it, which the gauges sort of twitched, glitched, and everything went haywire. So I stuck my head underneath there on the side, and Chris just kept smashing the dash until the electrical glitched out, which actually led us to find the problem. However, on the wild goose chase of finding that, we actually found a failing idle air control valve hose that was cracked and had some other issues. And oddly, at Road Atlanta, there is a everything BMW, everything German, used BMW motor collection junkyard 4 miles from Road Atlanta. It's almost prophetic, and they have the perfect attitude for endurance racing. I called and said, do you have the idle air control valve clip that goes from the hose to the S50 or M50 or S50 or M52 manifold? And he goes, man, I didn't know if I got one of them in the back, but go ahead and come on down here because we got something we can RTV up and get you back on track. So it was the perfect place to go when you have endurance racing problems. They were not going to let us leave there without a solution. And what do we need? What do you need for this? And he just sort of looks at the parts on the table and goes, I don't know, $10 or $15. As if asking what's the price still left room for negotiation. So, everything German just outside Road Atlanta are never going to sponsor this podcast. However, I highly recommend you go there, if for no other reason, on a Saturday morning for a good conversation.
All right, so Chrissy, what are you working on?
So I'm working on my voice. Yesterday I had none, so this is pretty good now. Oh, I had some earlier today, but the laughing, and I did overuse it. So it's raining. It's cold. So people were like, oh, you're going to Atlanta. That sounds great. It's supposed to be warm there. And I was like, it's the same temperature as at home. It's supposed to snow here tomorrow. Same temperature as New York, Hamsa says. So,
and I'd like to point out that this is the second year in the row that you Yankees have brought us snow in December.
I thought you were going to say this is the second year in a row that I came here super sick, because last year I had the flu. So
the back room was like a sauna. I was Chris goes, honey, you're going to be medium rare. I'm going to turn the heat off. I was like, have you dead. I love you.
I was shivering. So this year I'm not like super sick. I just have no voice. And for no other reason. I have no idea why. So I've been working on the pits. We've been eating really, really good this time. I drove in the rain and did well? I drove in the rain and did well. I did not set the world on fire. I'd never driven. I don't drive in the rain. I just don't. And this, we don't have an option because it just rained all freaking day. So I drove in the rain and did pretty well. And tomorrow, hopefully, maybe I'll get some dry or not, and I'll just keep driving. And it was awesome. And Hamsa just builds, while he beats himself up because we had some glitches today, he builds a fantastic car, and it was awesome. And I was giggling most of the day. Chris, what you working on?
Well, probably one of the highlights of my day today was sending a text to often listener and sometimes guest, Bill Fisher, asking for Bill Garage Heroes in Training, saying, Bill, where did you put our dildo? Because
My dad's sort of listening
Yeah.
again. My dad is gone.
yeah, so Mitchell's dad's gone. So apparently Jeff had hidden the infamous 3-pedal mafia double dong in the ombre as they took it from our house last weekend. So they have now been hiding it on each other because playing a game of hide the dildo is a great racetrack fun thing to do among friends and family. So then I had to ask Bill to give where our dildo was that they had borrowed. So and they were very kind to wash it off before bringing it back, because that's only common courtesy is to wash off a borrowed dildo.
I think it was because they hid it in the car and it was wet today. I think it probably got washed off.
Oh, probably did.
A wet dildo usually works. I mean, a dry dildo.
But we have found the best way to clean a dildo is leave it in a hot tub for a day or two, and it ends up being much cleaner even than when we put it in the dishwasher. So that's what I've been working on aside, because Hamza because Hamza builds a car that doesn't need really any work. So like I didn't do anything there, right? And if it's right,
He only told me to go away today.
yeah. So I really didn't have anything to do there. I kept the heat on in the RV. I made sure it didn't float away. I hassled some people just for no reason whatsoever. And
You played the mayor. You just walked around and you were like, "How are you doing?"
yeah, so I was the mayor today. Really, like, how you doing? Hey, it's wet out here, huh? Car running all right?
How about this weather? Huh?
Fantastic. Have a nice day. Yeah. So yeah, wet enough for you? All right, great. So that's what I've been working on. So mental. What have you been working on?
Well, before I go into what I'm working on, just on the continuation of the dildo story, because you can never have enough dildo stories on your podcast. So, talking with Bruce and Greg, one of their drivers is lamenting the fogged over windshield, and so they.
That wasn't Bruce and Greg. That was in the Squirt and Coronas.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. In the Squirt and Coronas, they're lamenting an ex-driver of ours and former 25 Hours of Thunderhill competitor was lamenting the hey guys, the windshield's fogging over. We need to do something about it. So the theory is you'll get the double-ended dildo, wrap one of it in cloth, and hand it to him. And he said, "Well, it's not going to work. No. You got to suck on it for a little bit, and then it'll be straight enough so that you can actually clean out the windshield." So instead of now the infamous rag on a stick, which is how we used to solve our defroster problems, we now have the rag on a dick. So I am the only member of the cast tonight that has not been racing all weekend. My weekend has been spent doing teacher stuff. Not even. I haven't even seen a marital aid this whole weekend. Granted, I've only been here like 3. Well, if one of my cadets shows up with a marital aid, we're going to have an issue. Hamsa has walked in here. Walked in here with a Michelob Ultra and like the aluminum, I work out can. So, oh, we should so be live in this on Facebook. It would be epic. We have crappy interwebs. So Friday night I had to drive the basketball team, and then all day today I was at our season opener of the marksmanship tournament. And I'm really excited, and this is nerd stuff that no one who's listening will understand. But when I took over the marksmanship program, we had to forfeit our first 3 matches because we didn't have enough players. Today, I had enough to field 2 teams. It was awesome. We got our butts kicked in both matches, and I don't care. It was fantastic, and I'm very proud of my cadets, who in like 2 months will probably start listening to this because I'm not going to have this job anymore, and they're allowed to be friends with me on social media. So that's what I've been doing back there. I'm troubled with what Hamsa is doing behind me because I'm still not entirely sure where the double dildo is. But it's in the restaurant. Oh God!
They took the double dildo to the restaurant with them to present it to the driver, who felt he needed the rag on a stick. So now he's going to get the rag on a dick.
Rag on a dick.
Yeah, all is well. It's rag on a dick. Well, I don't think we're ever going to say rag on a dick again after tonight, but it's funny for tonight, so that's good.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to say that we're going to say rag on a dick for like the next 4 shows, just to get it out there.
Okay.
So I would go to listener feedback, and I
have some listener feedback.
You guys were here. So
We had a bunch of listener feedback saying that the audio quality on our show on the way down here was shit. And I agree. I'm sure it was. It was terrible. So we're just going to apologize on that right now. And Mitchell wants the microphone back. Hang on.
I don't want the microphone back. Was the audio, and we do want specifics, because I thought me and Jeff sounded great.
Oh, yeah. You and Jeff sounded great. Chrissy and I sounded terrible, and Johan was too low.
It was because of when we talked, it went really low because it was trying to focus on you guys, and then it would focus on us. Everybody would turn the radio up, and then you came back in, and then you were like,
well, yes, it went from. Well, but it went from Chrissy and I speaking as best we could, and it turning the sound up on us, and then all of a sudden we'd hear mental. Well, yes, and we did that on purpose. Yeah, we spiked the audio on purpose there, just because that's what most listeners actually heard the last time we did this. So hey, sorry about that. Listen,
I'm a gregarious person. And I will not apologize for my laughter.
This is.
It does, but I'm not. So, folks, check that mental is drunk on your bingo card.
That was the sound of mental pouring tequila into a cup labeled Chrissy. So that's good. That's a good way to go. So, yep. So when in Rome, that's fine. So now we're going to move on to main topic. Main topic time. What is our main topic tonight?
How's the weekend going? So we're going to talk about how the weekend's going, and as I've mentioned, I've not been here. The one of the things that has been burning up the interwebs, especially if you go to the 24 Hour of Lemons Instagram.
Insta what?
And was the farteria, or the Fatari Poopstarossa, which is a brilliant car. And there was actually an ongoing debate on several Facebook pages on what it actually is, what it started out as. Chris, you have some input?
Well, when I first saw it, I saw the front end, and the front end was very clearly a TR7 or TR8 front end, no doubt. But then had a very convincing side strakes on it, but the back end was very high. As I walked past it, I saw a Nissan gauge cluster, and I saw very small wheels with a 4x100 bolt pattern. I said, shit, that's a 200SX. It's a terrible, terrible car. And that team very nicely wrecked it very badly Friday in testing day. They wiped the whole front end off of that gorgeous paint job. The paint job really was brilliant, and they wiped it off. So good job for those guys.
And not just the paint job. The whole car was themed really well, and they had the we're obnoxious Ferrari people at Cars and Coffee.
The Scuderia shields were a cartoon donkey, which is great.
And probably, since I'm not on the My Insta face space at all, what might have been lost is they have custom embroidered jackets. Gold on red. The entire team has custom embroidered mockery jackets, and it's glorious to see. And it looks great. It looked great until. By the way, I do actually want to commend. They're not going to sponsor the podcast, but Road Atlanta has amazing walls, and those walls stop Ferraris. So if you need racetrack walls, get them from wherever Road Atlanta gets their racetrack walls.
Okay, so I love this track because it's my home track. I went to race school here, and on the subject of walls, we mentioned last week, and Johan pointed out that the Three Pedal Mafia had some competition from our buddy and semi teammate John with the Two Pedal Mafia, but unfortunately, his weekend hasn't been going well, Chris.
Yeah, John had the Chevrolet Lexus, which is what they're calling it now, that has an LT1 and a 4L60. Well, because of the 4L60, it lost fourth gear yesterday in testing, because that's what happens to every 4L60. And the fact that they didn't think about this ahead of time is appropriate. So today John was going along, doing fine, and then spun out and tagged a wall really quite hard in the left front. And yeah, it has amazing walls that the walls.
You're gonna build a wall,
right?
You want one of these walls.
So as Hamsa said, if you're going to build a wall, these are the walls you want. So whoever built the wall here, those are the ones that Trump wants to build the walls anywhere else, because that's how it goes. So that's fine. So anyway, they actually took their car home because they were hella butt broken and with some custom parts that they couldn't fix, and plus it's pouring rain. It's like a cold hurricane here tonight. It's really pretty terrible, and we didn't. No, this is not the night for doing weird stuff at night where it's like, okay, let's have some fun and be outside and drink and things. This isn't even a good night to drink hurricane, let alone anything else.
We decided we were like, what do we not need to do? Let's just not do that. We said maybe in the morning. We also had dinner in our trailer because it was so cold.
Hamsa, why don't you tell us about what our evening checklist of work on the car was once it came in tonight?
So as I said, we had some issues earlier in the day, got them fixed, went back out. The car was knock on polyurethane and laminate. The car was rock solid throughout the entire afternoon. At 5 o'clock, last driver comes off the parade lap, brings it in, parks it, and Chris and I look at each other and we're like, well, I guess we better do the post-track maintenance and post-race day maintenance. And we looked at the car, we're like, check the oil? So we checked the oil. We either sloshed around or used up a half a quart. We threw a half quart in. We looked at the tires and said, tire pressure looks right. No gauges were used. We just sort of looked at them and said, whatever the tire pressure is right now, it's not going to matter. There's enough water and oil slicked all over the track. We're good to go. Let's put gas in it, cover it up, and go crack a beer. So the post-race maintenance was ideal for this weather condition. This is not the day. Not on fire.
And then if it was on fire, can we warm ourselves?
Yeah, this is not the day for a trackside clutch, and there's teams doing it, and I really feel bad.
One of my favorite things about driving that car in the rain today was watching the mud puddle in the passenger side floor well move around basically
It washed the floor.
It did wash the floor, but as your various G-forces happened, you'd watch the brown mud puddle move around the painted white floor of the car, depending on where you were going. So that was a fun like accelerometer.
So basically, it's like you track data, real time track data, but analog. You just water puddle.
If you could keep the water, all the way to one side, how far up the wall could you get it? That was your G data for the car. Yes, Chrissy.
If you're watching that, you're not watching where you're going on the track, and therefore you're not driving.
I did a bit of both because, frankly, sometimes there's nobody around, and you only can do so much out here. So that's what we were doing. So, in general, it was a hot mess of a day. And every time you'd come into turn 12 here, you'd really pucker up because you said, I don't know what standing water I'm going to hit that's going to just push the car. Who knows? When you're going through the S's, basically the nice part about going through the S's here is you didn't have to steer because you'd hit a bunch of standing water on one side, which would bounce you to the other side of the track, and then you hit standing water on the other side of the track, it would bounce you back to the middle. So you just kind of bounced back and forth from the standing water on either side, which got you eventually where you needed to go, and you were all right. So that was fun. Hamsa?
I gestured over, and you were talking about bouncing around with the standing water, and I had never really thought of this, but Bruce and I were out first couple hours of the day, and Bruce said over the radio as he was trying to follow Save the Tatas, and he said that they have a weapon that you never would have thought about. The mass of that car negates hydroplaning. They can go right through. They were running on skinnier tires than you'd ever see Tatas running, and they were just going straight through water that none of us, regardless of car, just due to straight tire width, none of us could go through. We had to maneuver around spots in the track that Tatas just blew right through. Sure, they're only running at 80% power in their 500 horsepower car, but they're just blazing right through where they want to be, regardless of water on the track. And it was a weapon that I had never thought until I heard Bruce try to follow them and realize that he had to turn around things that they were just going straight through.
Can you tell? I most people that listen to this know what it is. Can you tell about the car? Just quickly.
Save the Tatas is an amazing car built over a number of years. That it is a third-gen Camaro chassis with a well put together power plant. Made it an LS1 power plant. Made it to a T56. Every possible piece of well put together and well chosen race gear drives this car amazingly. And it was to the point where they were actually going to be told, "Hey, don't bring this car back. This is you're weaponizing the race series, and the arms race is going to get out of hand. Do something different. Come back with something different." And they did. They cut the entire body off of it and welded a Cadillac bustleback over the top of it. Giving them some frame issues and some other issues, and I was there for a couple of the first races with the new body, and they paid their new teething price. They went through teething pains. They brought basically a whole new car and went through the same 6 races of parked, 6 races of hood open, but in the course of a year, they built a whole new amazing car, and they drive it well.
I've actually driven that car for about half an hour, and it is epically fast. Just epically fast. And the view out the front of that flat, straight hood with the Cadillac logo at the end really is nice for putting yourself exactly where you want to be in corners.
And I've known this team since way back, right after I raced with you guys in 2009 or 2000. It was 2010. And I came back and I told all my buddies Oklahoma we had to go. And this was when they were still running the third-gen Camaro chassis on that. And that car was horrible. It blew up. It was all over the place. So, you mentioned weaponizing, and that's a great phrase. And what I wanted to say is they didn't just go through there and be like, oh, we're going to be a bunch of cheaty turds and put all the cheaty parts on this car. It's just, oh, we broke this. Well, let's get one better. Oh, we broke that. Let's get one better. Oh, we broke. They've just been doing this now for rolling up on 9 years. 9 years. So they're creeping up on a decade of very effective Lemons racing and development, and they're all just, they're great guys. They're poop-pot drivers. They do not play, we have a secret, get away, get out front. They will open the hood and show you, oh, we did this because we broke this, because we broke that, because we broke this. And that just, and I was having a conversation a few months ago with some folks in AR, and they're like, oh, well, Lemons, they don't take the racing seriously. I'm like, when was the last Lemons race you were at? Because I'm sorry, they'll put on costumes, they'll show up, and we'll all be goofballs. But the hardware that shows up here is developed, it is polished, and we keep coming back to, Randy Post, the driving robot. But when he shows up and he's not the fastest guy, you're running in a real race series. That's reality.
So today we have got a lot of fast cars, and we have a Nubira that has
a Daewoo Nubira.
Daewoo Nubira, it has a rookie in the back of the car. They stay off the driving line.
They spray painted the word rookies and also NSF on the back of the car. But and there's another RX-7 too that is spray painted rookies on the back of their car.
NSF scares me more than the word rookie. I say NSF scares me more than the word rookie. Well,
as it should. As it should, Chrissy.
NSF tells me more than what I need to know.
So we have those, right? So Lemons does have these rookies. It's really nice that they have that they have written it on it. They stay off the line, so they've done a really good job. So sure, Lemons has those, but Lemons also has fast cars with fast drivers, and there's people that are dialing in, and it's raining, it's cold, it's like semi-icy, and we are racing, and so it's been a really good time.
The top, I'd say, 10 to 20% of the field in general at a Lemons race is pretty serious. The bottom 20% is just hella broken. The middle is all a big mix of whatever it is, but the top 20%, the middle is Sasha, the middle is Actually, no. Sasha, our friend Sasha, with his Sentra with now 30% more roof, is actually doing quite well today. Until the wheel fell off Sasha's car and went into the dirt. That was a shame for Sasha. Yeah, Sasha lost a wheel. So now it has a little less floor and a little less ground clearance, but it has more roof, so it's okay. So, all right. So I think today's been a hot mess of a gross day, and no one actually is having any fun. Really, but we actually are having fun. That's the thing. It's an awful day, but we're still having fun and having a good time because that's what racing is. And most of it is just hanging out with the people here and doing our best. And everyone is actually getting a great lesson in rain driving today because you have no choice. And that's really what it comes down to. So here's we are. So now we're getting down to how are we going to end this show? We're going to do. I'm gonna make a call. No. No, Mari Mental wanted to say one thing, and he pouted. He pouted. He's got 8 things because it's mental. So here.
Well, I'll say because now I grew up here, and when Nissan owned this track, my dad worked for Nissan, and I would come here every October, and I would watch Paul Newman and Scott Pruitt and all those guys for the SCCA runoffs, and it always rained. It always rained, and I always associate Road Atlanta with rain and cold. Because that's how I grew up, and I love this track for that very reason. And I love that you said everyone is getting a great rain education, and I love that you went with.
It's all the bouncing off the standing waters and the S's. Yeah,
exactly. And I love that you said it's a horrible, crappy day, but it's a great day because I was having a great day with my marksmanship team, and I love my cadets, and you guys all know this. But I'd rather have been here, in the rain, in the horribleness.
But yet, you're staying with your marksmanship kids and not going to Laguna Seca with us. Just saying.
Because I have to respect the obligation I made first, and I hear you on that one. But yeah, I might still weasel out of one of it.
So hey kids, you really better appreciate Mental being there. Like, I don't think you understand the sacrifice he is making to be there with you. Just saying. Like, you won't hear this until after it's too late, but you best thank him.
Corkscrew. Yeah, he's right. But I'm gonna miss this track, and I love this track, and I'm gonna have to figure a way to come back here. So yeah, we don't know how to finish this.
Oh, I do.
Oh, all right. So Chris knows how to finish it.
So we're gonna do a real quick on the spot. Because on the spot is great, and it's impromptu. No one knows what's coming in. It's just, here's a question. Everyone gives a one-line answer for it. And today's question for on the spot, it's going to get passed around the horn, is, what is your biggest rain driving takeaway? We're going to start with Mental.
No. Start with
no.
Hamsa.
Okay, fine. Mental said no. So we're going to start with Hamsa. Rain driving takeaway. Go.
On track, it's... As we were joking earlier, the rain line is different than the dry line, and we were joking that if all else fails, peg it to the middle and just stay in the middle. And this, I'm gonna say something that is not a negative connotation, because there was a autistic driver who just drove in the racetrack, and natively, naturally, logically to him, it was, you drove in the middle of the racetrack. You should race in the middle of the track. So that's what he did. And you can do through a lot of complicated, explanations of no, dry line is outside, inside, outside, expand the radius, and the rain line is, blend from about 1/3 this way to about 1/3 that way and come back. Or you just say peg it in the middle and take the autistic line. And that only makes sense with the background explanation of there was a driver who thought that's what you did racing. And he was on track in the rain doing it. And you're like, well, so this morning I was in the rain, and I just came over the radio. I was like, I'm doing a lot of things out here, but I keep chuckling to myself like, well, all else fails, take the autistic line. That, and I will tell you, the car builder takeaway is, if you convert your car to cryogenic rotors and frozen rotors, and you slap ST43 pads on there, and you've swapped lots of pads in, done this, that, and the other thing, and you're like, yeah, we'll bet them in on the day one of the race, or you'll bet them in practice. Well, when you've got everything built to keep the brakes cold, ducting, intakes, everything like that, at no point today, in somewhere 6 hours on track, at no point did our brakes ever get hot enough to even bed in. Cryo rotors and ST43s have to get to about 500 degrees to bed in, and we were commenting that there's no way they approach that. You could, Hashtag Amazing Brakes totally sponsor us. I'll take 5% off the price of that combination. But there's probably not much chance that they made it over 100 degrees science. That's Celsius too. Yeah, there's no way they made it over 100 degrees Celsius. Just no chance. It was way too cold, way too wet, and way too well cooled. So 2 takeaways in the rain. Sorry for a long on the spot. Chrissy, what were your takeaways?
Good answer. Mine was that rain driving is not so scary. So I don't ever drive in the rain because I have the ability to be able to pick where I want to drive. So if there's...
You get to say, hey, Chris, you drive in the rain.
Right. And especially if we're trying to win and we're trying to do well.
I cook all the food. You will drive in the shitty.
No.
Not when you race with us.
No.
Give up.
Well,
you get in the top 5, we'll park this goddamn car.
No.
There's no chance of doing well when you race with me. It's a fun car, but if we get in the top 5, we'll park it.
Right. No. So normally I can pick.
We are way too close to the podium right now. We are way too close to the podium. Slow down.
He does that. He says, "Just like let me go.
That wheel eject
Let me
button.
come see. Let me come see the car." Okay. So I'm sorry if you can't hear everything that's going on. So I was nervous about getting in. I don't usually drive in the rain, and I had a great time today. I was slow. I didn't even care what the times looked like. And I don't drive much in the rain, but today it rained all day. I had no choice but to drive in the rain, and I had a great time. So I'm going to say that it's not so scary. When the car starts to let go, either you brake or you drive a little faster. And I did it, and I'm happy about it. So it's not so scary.
I know I'm only supposed to have one thing, but it's my segment, and I'm going to have more than that. So, number 1 tip, Barbasol on the windshield on the inside is amazing. Rub the Barbasol on the inside of your windshield, wipe it all off.
It doesn't have to be Barbasol.
I'm going to say it does, especially the menthol. But you rub the shaving cream, the Barbasol, hashtag they should sponsor us. So anyway, you rub the windshield, you rub it on the inside of your windshield, you wipe it off, you buff it, and it is amazing at keeping the fog away. We have actually, I feel like, single-handedly changed the way Lemons deals with rainy days because of how we've told everyone that we know of how to use this. And the number of fogged windshields has dropped dramatically among people we know to basically 0. So, hey, well done, Barbasol. Nice job. Number 2 is you can't see a damn thing. And you have to assume that no one else can see a damn thing. So that was the thing that held me back the most today was that I cannot pass anyone unless I am very, very sure that they see that I am here and I am presenting for a pass clearly, effectively, efficiently, and having not even having a red car, lights. So lights are important. Like I wish we had our lights on today, but our lights don't work. And Hamsa is going to fix it tomorrow, but it's not going to rain as much tomorrow. So having lights somehow to be visibility, because the whole thing is if you're going to pass someone, you need to make sure they see you. That's your responsibility. So I passed about 1/3 of the cars I would have as if it were dry because I wasn't 100% sure I could get ahead of them in a spot that they could see me where I wasn't going to get stuck in a spot in standing water. So you have to totally assume no one can see you. Mental says something. Hang on.
So what you're saying is you're comfortable with the size of your genitalia, and you don't measure yourself by how many cars you pass, but rather by how safely you pass the cars.
Well, I mean, I had to roll it up to tuck it into my race suit, so I feel okay with that. But in general, we're not trying to win anything. Here's the prize we're trying to win. We're trying to win the prize of put Hamsa's car back on the trailer just the way it came. That's the prize, right? That's the prize we're trying to do, and that was fine. So there we go. So I guess and I had a third one. I don't remember what the third one was, but those are my 2 that I remember right now for my 2 rain takeaways is Barbasol and be really careful because no one can see shit. Mental, what do you think?
So years ago, I was racing with the Rocksteady Racing crew in Houston, and it was raining like this, except it wasn't nearly as miserable cold. And everyone talks about, the great watchword in rain racing is patience. All right, and that and we'll go back. And we're going to go back to Chris for his third one because he just remembered it. So, if you watch any movie about racing, what it comes down to is it shows the two top competitive drivers in this movie about racing. And one of them is crazy enough to go 90% throttle. And the other one, well, he's a little bit crazier, so he goes 91% throttle. And they look at each other, they go 92, 93, 94. What they don't get right in every racing movie is every racer in the history of ever is crazy enough to go 100% throttle. What makes a difference is the skill set of knowing how much throttle to go. And I'm racing in Houston. It's 2 inches of standing water. And I remember coming out of a corner and looking over at another Miata, and we were both white-knuckled. And I rolled in the throttle as much as I would dare to do. And he looked at me, and he was not going to let me have this pass. So he rolled in the throttle as much as he absolutely was going to allow himself to do. And then we go, and each are cresting by 1%, 1%, 1%. We're white-knuckled. We're just, who's crazier? And all of a sudden, the entire car came out from underneath me because I hit a puddle and went sideways, and I looked at him and went, you got it. And the great punchline is we were doing maybe 37 miles an hour. And it's all about being smooth and controlled. And if you haven't read the book, The Art of Racing in the Rain, well, it's primarily about a dog, but it does speak to patience that is required in racing in the rain. And it's chess 4 moves ahead of regular chess that is endurance racing. So, guys, when you lose traction, just simmer down. I'm sorry. Thank you. Both of you guys, drivers, simmer down because simmer down now. It's the long game. And Chris just remembered his third thing, so we're going to go back to him.
In the racing in the rain, it's not about anything else except finding the traction. Forget lines. Forget anything else you think you know about where to drive. It's about going to the spot that has the traction. That is what you're trying to do. Find the traction. And the other thing I was doing today is more than finding the traction. It was
Spot. You have all the on the spot.
This is good, valuable information, though. So, actually, more what I was doing today than actually racing the track, I was racing the other drivers. I was evaluating who was in front of me and how I could trust them and where they were going to go. And that's how you get around the track in the rain. Find the traction, evaluate your competition, and there you go. And I'm sorry, I had 4 things on the spot, but I don't care. It's my spot. I don't care. And no one's actually going to listen to this. So, yeah. All right, Mental, are we ready?
All right, yeah. So, folks, thank you so much. Do we have anything else for the good of the order before we close this up? I'm going to add, genuinely and sincerely, we miss Jeff.
I want to add genuinely and sincerely, thanks to Mental for letting us use his RV, even though it wasn't here, because it is so tragically awful outside. But yeah, here we are, dry and warm, and it's wonderful. So thanks, Mental. Right, you're casually doing a podcast, half drunk, and it's all okay.
Half drunk? You need to catch up.
I'm sorry. Mental says I need to catch up. I apologize. So anyway, all
right, folks, you have just listened to the most improvised episode we have ever had. So tune in again because we're going to be recording on Wednesday, and I look at my 2 co-hosts for confirmation. Yeah, sure, yeah, whatever. Yeah, sure. All right, Hamsa. All right. So we're going to be recording again on Wednesday, so we'll have the entire Road Atlanta wrap-up. Thank you for downloading this bonus episode as I start the theme music. So, hey, thank you for downloading. We hope you enjoyed this bonus episode of Everyone Racers. We hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. And if you don't believe us, go check out the Garage Heroes in Training podcast, their Instagram, their Facebook, because they're down, brother. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And if you didn't enjoy us, bear in mind that our regular weekly shows are actually a little bit better, and only slightly. And I recognize we're talking on a broken scale on that one, but still, even if you hate us, folks, give us 5 stars and tell us why you hate us. If you've got any questions or want to give us some show ideas or drop us a comment on our Facebook page, and we are building our schedule for next year. Yes, I promise we're getting to that gravel rally thing because we're actually all fascinated by it. Drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email by everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on the Instagram and the Twitter at everyone.racers, or follow us on the Three Pedal Mafia Facebook page. Thanks again, and until next Wednesday, keep the shiny side up. Unless, like us, there is no shiny side because it's covered in rain, then just keep the dry side down.